Hey everybody, welcome to homerecordingmadeeasy.com, visionrecordingstudios.com, and here on my YouTube channel. And up this week, our next Universal Audio plugin series little first look and review. And this week we're going to take a look at the Roland Dimension D. This is kind of more of a utility plugin as far as what I use it for. It's not something that I use all the time, but it's something really cool to have in your toolbox. And the Roland Dimension D has kind of been like a secret weapon of analog studios forever. It's a real super simple plugin to use, and it will take anything and make it sound a little thicker, a little bit better, give it a little bit of mojo. So let's take a look at the Roland Dimension D. So as always, I like to do a little bit of a history lesson and a facts section of all the Universal Audio plugins, so you kind of understand the basics of where it came from and kind of what we would use it for, and kind of just some basic, history and overview. So let's just take a look at this. So the Roland Dimension D was built in 1979 by the Roland Corporation, the hardware version. It's regarded as one of the best stereo choruses ever made. It's a it's really what it is. It's a stereo chorus box, but it doesn't have that that over processed chorus sounds that you think of when you think of a chorus. Okay, it's got a unique character of its own, and it's super subtle. It enhances the sound of any voice or instrument, and is extremely subtle, as I just said. So it's not something that, normally when you use a chorus plugin, especially if you use like a stock chorus, it's obvious what it does very, very quickly. Or if you use like a chorus pedal for like a guitar pedal, it's super obvious. This is a very subtle type of a chorusing. It's not meant to make it sound like something has been, quote unquote, air quotes here, chorused, if you know what I mean. It's super simple to use, and it's great for adding a subtle thickness to a sound, as I just mentioned. So it was built in 1979. All major studios had one of these sitting in their rack somewhere. It's great for using it on basses and vocals and such, and we're going to take a look of a couple of sound examples. So let's jump on into our DAW here. And again, this song is a song that's not even mixed. It's all raw tracks. There's just a little bit of panning and a little bit of balancing. We're not even going to listen to the whole song here. But anyhow, so let's take a look at how I would use this. So, and again, I don't use the Roland Dimension D in every mix, but when I'm looking for a little something special, or looking to thicken things up a little bit and on certain elements, I will pop in a Dimension D. So let's take a look at it on bass. This is probably where it's going to be the most subtle. And I will zoom in on the screen to give you a better look at the front panel. So let's take a look at the front panel. So the Roland Dimension D has a button over here which will go from a mono to a stereo mode. Okay. You have a remote jack on the front, which doesn't work, obviously. This is true to the hardware unit. And you really have four modes here, dimension modes. You have the off button in red here, and you have mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4. The higher you go up in number, the little bit more obvious the chorusing effect is. Okay, you have an output level here. Okay, and then you have a power button. That's it. That's all you have. There's a bunch of different presets. As with all the Universal Audio plugins, you can use where they have 3 different buttons pushed in at the same time, 3 different modes, and we could go through a few of these presets so you can see what we have here. Okay, so you have mode 1, 2 stereo, 1, 3, 1, 4, so you can make combinations of the different modes, which is pretty cool. So let's start with it in the off position. Let's listen to this bass part a little bit, just a simple bass. I'll turn it up a little. So let's click in one of the modes. You can see the output level here. Okay, that's off. I'll put it in, like, say, mode 4. Off. Okay, so it just gives a little bit of movement to the bass. It'll be a little more obvious on vocals when we get to that in a second, but let's just flip through some of the presets and see what that does when they're using a combination of the different effects. Let's just see what that does. Okay, now we're using it on a mono track, so we'll pick some of the mono presets here. Here's all the stereo presets up top. Let's pick some of the monos. A little more obvious there. Off. All mono. Okay, there it's wooded off. Now if I pop into one of these all button modes, okay, you can hear it right there. Okay, so it's just a way to thicken up things a little bit on the bass. So it's a little more subtle on bass, but there's definitely some movement in the sound. Again, it's not one of these obvious chorus boxes that make it sound like it's all wobbly and really movement. It's really, really subtle, and that's what's really cool about it, is you really don't know what's there unless you're really listening for it. But when you put it on, say, a bass that's a little bit, you know, thin sounding, or maybe just needs, maybe if it had a lot more finger work and singular kind of runs, maybe it would dress it up a little bit. So let's take a listen to it on, well, let's listen to it on acoustic. I wasn't planning to do that, but let's take a listen on acoustic because it may do something really cool for acoustic. Let's just take a listen to one of these. And then move this over. Okay, it's more obvious there. With it off. That's nice. So that's really cool. So on acoustic, it's a lot more noticeable. And even on its mode 4, which is the more obvious of the 4 modes, it doesn't sound really weird and strange and phasey. It has kind of a nice, sweet sound to it. Now, I would, probably be placing this in the context of a mix, but, again, this song is not mixed. But if I just did the drums and let's say the bass, let me turn it off on the bass. And let's have a couple of acoustic guitars here. And if we pan one hard left and right, and maybe put the Dimension D on the one on the left, let's just see what that kind of does, how that kind of maybe fills things up a little and just kind of gives it a little bit of space. So I got two acoustics here. The one on the left has got the Dimension D. The one on the right does not. Okay, so this is just going on the left channel. Let's just see how that kind of reacts. We just got bass and drums here again. Nothing mixed, just kind of brought up the faders. Put it off. Put it off. Off. Well, that's pretty cool. So, on like a mode 2 or mode 3, if you put it on one of the guitars, it just kind of fills up the sound a little more. It makes it a little more interesting sounding, but doesn't sound real wobbly and real chorusy, which is really cool. Now, I guess you could put it on both guitars, and you could maybe put them on different modes. That might be kind of cool. But you can see where this can become really useful. right? This could become really useful, this tool. And again, I wasn't planning on putting it on acoustics here. It was an afterthought. I'm glad I did, because you can really show you how it could dress up an acoustic really nice. So let's take a listen to it on a vocal and maybe on some background vocals and just see what it can do there. So let's mute all these tracks and let's just solo up a vocal track.
Of a feeling like nothing I'll probably ever feel again.
Well, there you go. So now that's a little obvious. So let's go to like mode 1.
Oh well. Oh hell. Here comes that dark and awful feeling within. The one that feels like fucking up inside.
So you see how it really kind of dresses up that vocal quite nicely, but it doesn't sound like it's too affected. Again, and we're doing this in solo mode. If I did this in the context of a mix, it'd be even more subtle.
I wish there was some way to start this over again. Maybe make another better kind of life. The end of a feeling like nothing I'll probably ever feel again. Oh well. Oh hell. Here comes that dark and awful feeling within. The one that feels like fucking up inside.
So really cool. It makes it sound really sweet. Now, again, we're in solo, so it sounds kind of obvious, and you may go, that's kind of too obvious for me. But if I were to, again, do this with maybe just bass and acoustic guitars as just a way to kind of see what would this sound like if it kind of sat in some instrumentation, how would it sound?
I wish there was some way to start this over again.
Put it off.
Maybe make another better kind of life. The end of a feeling like nothing I'll probably ever feel again. Oh well. Oh hell.
Put it off.
Here comes that dark and awful feeling within. The one that feels like fucking up inside. I wish there was some way to start this over again. Maybe make another better kind of life.
So I can think of possibilities where maybe you would use this on a lead vocal in maybe the chorus sections of the song, or maybe the bridge, or maybe the pre-chorus, and maybe you just automate something like the Roland Dimension D to come in certain parts of the lead vocal if you didn't want to affect the entire vocal track. That might be another way to use this, okay? Because it's subtle and because it's not so obvious. It's a nice place to kind of drop it in certain places just to give it a little more of an interesting feel. So that might be something you can do. So now let's listen to this maybe on some background vocals. I have a small section here where the vocals are kind of ganged up a little here. And maybe if we just, I put it on the stereo bus of these background vocals. And again, like I've said earlier, nothing in this song is mixed, not a single thing. So it's at its rawest form. So you can really hear just the plugin and what it's doing. So if I were to, let's just see what this does. Okay, that could make, so let's put the Dimension D on that. Let's go through some of the multi-button mode presets. With it off. With it on. All button mode. So that's pretty cool too. You can take a bunch of background vocals, put them on a bus, and maybe put a little bit of Dimension D on that bus, and that will dress up those vocals a little bit as well. So there's a lot of possibilities you can use with the Dimension D. And again, it's a subtle effect. It's something that I use from time to time. I don't use it on every mix. A perfect place to use this for me would be like on this song. I'd use it maybe on the background vocals, probably that acoustic guitar, just in certain places maybe. And again, it's something you can just get creative with, and you can automate the effect to bring it in and out in certain sections of the song, or there, again, you can leave it on the track for the entire song. And by going through these presets and these different mode combinations is really cool too. So that's really interesting. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Kind of a short video. I just wanted to show you a cool utility plugin by Universal Audio, the Roland Dimension D. I don't think any other company makes this natively, and I think it's a great addition to your kind of utility plugins and to have it in your toolbox if you're a Universal Audio owner. So I hope this video was helpful. For more mixing tips, tricks, concepts, and training, head over to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And for more information about my mixing and mastering services, you can head over to visionrecordingstudios.com. And until next time, this is David Vignola with homerecordingmadeeasy.com, and I will speak to you all soon. Take care.